Hello everyone, my name is Kimberly. This is I Got a New Deck. Welcome. This channel showcases tarot decks, oracle decks, and divination systems from my personal collection. I have not received a dime for these reviews. Should I do in the future, I'll be completely transparent about that. It really won't matter. The reviews are going to be fair, but they're going to be very honest. Today I am showcasing not a deck, but it's an elemental divination dice oracle by Stephen Ball. It's an interesting concept. It's not entirely new. He does give this is a very thorough guidebook, just so you know, because it tells about the history of dice divination, goes back centuries. I mean, Greece, Rome, Egypt, they've all had dice as part. African cultures have done it as well. Some people, they use bones for value. But the correlation between elements and using the numbers on the die for meaning is a unique concept. So, how it's broken down is this. The elements have value on the dice. And then there's almost like a overview due to that combination thrown. Okay, so for example, air. Air is mental, it's intelligence, it's communication. Air is also correspondence, less emotional, right, than water or fire. So that's the number one on the die. Air is the perception, right? So it's at the top. It's number one. Fire is passion, goals, transformative, breakdown. Passionate goes on both sides, right? Anger, lust, sex. It could be very chaotic, fire, if out of control and not contained. That is the number two on the dice. Because fire, to really boost passion, not obviously, but sometimes needs a partner, like air, water, to have a great effect. Red would be the color associated with fire as well. Red gems, wands, if you want to add the tarot flag, just like for Libra's air. So you can assign those signs as well, right? So for air, number one may include a Libra, Aquarius, Gemini energy. Fire, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Water's number three. It's all about emotions, Water's very changeable, right? It doesn't stay still often, because if it does, it's not beneficial. It's stagnant energy. It's murky. So water's number three. Earth would be number four. The sun is number five. The moon is number six. The earth, again, grounding, rational, logic, material, wealth. Okay, so how to cast the oracle. Basically, you need two dice, 3 dice, okay? So what you are going to do, basically each reading is an influence of an existing situation, okay? So basically is the combination of the elements that would influence an existing situation. So you would put, you have 3 dice. You have 3 dice, okay? You roll 1. So I have 1 air element, okay? Woo. 2, we said, was fire, correct? So you'd put those 2 dice next to each other. So the first number determines the primary element. So for this, I rolled a 1, which is air. The second die rolled is the bottom element. And the third gives the strength of the first element. So if you throw the 3 dice, you would do 2 against each other. Okay. And then the third dice is a 2 as well, so fire. That would go under the 1. So it looks like an inverted L. Okay, I flipped over L. So how you would say it is this. Air. Well, fire greater than air, basically in this particular one. So what you would do then, you ask a question before you throw this oracle. You know, first you cast it. Then you go to the reference book. This is not, like I said, this is a guidebook you will need. You don't want to lose this guidebook because as you cast more, the theory behind it and the knowledge of the elements and that, it does become easier to give the reading without focusing on the book as much. But for a long while, you're going to need this guidebook. Okay? So I look to the appendix and it states all the combinations. And so again, mine was air, fire over fire. So I would go look at 1, 2 over 2, lesser air over fire. And it's titled The Bellows, Summary, Measured Control, Creation According to Plan. Page 84 would then give you further information. So I'm going to go to page 84. And this I'm going to read out just so you get an overview, a little bit more detail about how a reading would go. So lesser air over fire, the bellows, measure control, creation according to plan. Then it gives you a visual, which I like, a bellow in a blacksmith's forge, slowly coaxing the coals to the correct heat. There is no chance of the air in this combination blowing the fire out completely. The air is restrained, directed, and the timing of adding to the mix is chosen to help the fire achieve a goal. Just like bellows used in a forge, this combo tells us to apply our brains to a task in a steady way so that the end result will be bigger and brighter. It's work, but work that involves repeated, careful mental effort. Don't lose focus to emotions, but keep the deliverer doing exactly what it's meant to do. This reading can show someone who is there to help, to add good decisions to a passionate cause, without raising their voice or causing the hot fire to break its containment. This might be you unselfishly helping, or it could be the support that you receive from others. At the lower end of the air energy, this can be an approach that is too timid or conservative to give the best results. Allowing the fire to overrule air unchecked just lets it quickly flare out without enough oxygen. A skillful artist can increase and decrease the size of the fire according to their plan instead. A specific reading that often applies, a specific meaning that often applies to this reading regards fiery words and stoking anger. If you have a passionate message to send, tempers or willpower that needs to be inflamed, then using air's communication to do it will increase the fire. Air's vibration covers speaking and singing. Its mental powers cover memory and having a plan for your speech. Bards, singers, and those who want to reach to the hotter emotions of the audience have always used the air's aspect to do it. This combination will not work for reducing the fire. If that is your goal, then the air is not strong enough to stop the flames dominating. People caught up in fire are not willing to listen to cold logic or the most sensible plans. Focus instead on finding a way to reach them, through water's emotions, or ground them with earth's solid security. Sometimes pushing ahead with fire without listening to the intellectual facts of air can be a good thing. It makes change happen and prevents getting trapped in inaction. Just bear in mind the bellows only ever make the heat increase, and the end result needs to be handled with care. So see what it's saying. Because it was 1-2 over 2, the fire element is much stronger than the 1 die of the air element. This is a very layered, because depending how many times you cast, you can definitely do a past, present, future kind of cast of the oracle. You can also, an advanced way is you do the 2 over 1, but then they have that you can add another 2 dice. So you do the original top element, the other element over the other element, okay? You can then add a 4th dice. So now the first to the 3rd die is you, okay? Then if you want to incorporate the energy of another person in the situation, you throw an additional 2 dice. So for this is 4, and we would put that one under the 3rd, okay? And then we're gonna throw final dice, 5, and that will be over the 2nd. So then it looks like a C, if you can visualize that. Traditionally, it's an inverted L, like that, right? Adding the 2 extra dice would be a C formation. So now we're adding further information. So originally it was the grade of fire over grade of fire over air. By adding those extra 2, okay? Now, if you just roll the last 2 dice, you're not looking in the back of the appendix. If you roll how the system is, if you roll 1 to 3, this elemental oracle would be addressed to you. If it is 4 to 6 you rolled for the 4th dice, it would be for somebody else. So I had rolled a 4. So the original reading is not my energy then. It is someone else's energy. Okay, the greater fire over air. Now, the fifth dice, again, 1 to 3. The 5th is the outcome. So 1 to 3, if you rolled, it's a good outcome. If you rolled 4 to 6 for the 5th dice, it's a warning against this outcome. So this makes complete sense to me. I know it may not to you. So the original 3 dice, the first dice was 1 for air, 2 for fire. Then the 3rd dice was placed under the number 1, the air element. It was a number 2, which is fire. So the original reading was greater fire over air. We added the extra dice because we wanted to find out, is this energy ours or somebody else's? If we rolled 1, 2, 3, it would have been about us. But we rolled a 4. So this is about someone else's energy. The 5th dice is the outcome. So if you rolled 1, 2, 3, it's a decent outcome. If you rolled 4 to 6, it is a warning about this potential outcome. We unfortunately rolled a 5. So this is a warning that somebody else has either communicated about us in a passionate manner, possibly from a place of anger or envy, resentment, or they're about to approach us in an aggressive manner, in a communicative correspondence manner. Because again, from a place of anger, resentment, jealousy, which further layer is a place of fear, of abandonment, loss, rejection. It doesn't sound like a cheerful reading, but I kind of like that it was casted this way to give you an overview of how it could flow. I actually, at the beginning, I was kind of overwhelmed because I'm going to be honest with you. Numbers and me, we've become friends. But it's still kind of a trigger to me remembering how bad I did in math in high school, grade school. And so it's kind of, when I first came across, I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. There's a lot of numbers. And once you get the number association to what the elements are, so 1 is air, 2 is fire, 3 is water, 4 is earth, 5 is sun, 6 is moon. Let me confirm the moon and the sun because sometimes I get that mixed up. Yes, so sun is 5, moon is 6. Okay. And then you follow the system of you roll the 2, then the 1, so that is the inverted L, is the basic reading. And you could keep it at that, but if you want further information, you throw the 4th die underneath the first row, and that would, again, 1 to 3 would say whether it was about you, or 4 to 6 would mean it was about someone else's energy. And the final dice that would be put under second row would be the outcome. 1 to 3 is a good outcome. 4 to 6 is, it may be a warning. I highly recommend this dice oracle if you like dice. If you like a challenge about learning about combinations, it has a nice history to it because it's one of the older divination systems. And once you get in the flow, you won't need to depend so much on the guidebook. But do you see, by me reading that entire excerpt, the extra layers? There was the visual about the bellows, and then they take you from the different perspective, that it's not all positive, it's not all negative if there's an over presence of one element. It just tells you to shift. Okay, in this case, maybe not having as much air would be beneficial. If you are a highly intuitive reader and research is not your thing, this may be overwhelming for you. But it's a challenge. I welcome you. I'm glad I took the challenge because I am an intuitive reader. And so this was a step out of my comfort zone. And I'm glad I took it. And actually today it motivated me enough that I'm going to play around with it. And you may see on my other channel, Graceful Guidance, Divination, and Esoteric Counsel, that I may do some readings with this dice now that I have it out here. This is what happens. It's like Christmas all year round. When you have so many decks and systems, you forget what you have sometimes because it gets shelved, you know, kind of in the back of the cabinet. So this is a good opportunity. Spirit called me to intuitively pick this to showcase on this channel. So I feel like it's a message like, maybe you need to do some oracle casting using this system on your other channel. So check that out if you're interested. Again, I highly recommend this. You can find this on Amazon. My name is Kimberly. This is I Got a New Deck. Thank you for stopping by. Till we're able to engage again, stay safe, be well, take care of you.